On a year earlier, Frenchman's Cove and Millhouse were odds-on winners, and odds-on losers in the 1949 was Cottage Rake and Macaulay in 1938. So 13 odds-on chances, 8 have won and 5 have lost. And the early show, as I say, they're asking for 9 to 4 on at the moment, one man. But I think now the rails are calling 2 to 1. 2 to 1, they're asking now for one man. Of course, great gambles have been landed by Jeddah in the novice chase and by Albi Mines. The bookmakers now are losing money again on Boxing Day. They want to get it back. 2 on.
The ones that we've got left have won 42 races and over £832,000 in winning place prize money. Barton Bank has won the race before 8 to 1. Adrian Maguire rides. Mr. Mulligan, the front runner, 8 to 1, partnered by Tony McCoy. Then we've got one man at 7 to 4 on, Richard Dunwoody. The Grand National winner, Rough Quest, 4 to 1, Nick Fitzgerald. And the much improving novice Strong Promise at 11 to 2, Kieran Gall rides. That's the lineup for the Potemps King George VI chase.
One man, just one big question mark over him. What went wrong in the Gold Cup last year? Was it lack of stamina? Did he simply have an off day? Well, we shan't necessarily learn today because his stamina won't be tested by the sharp Kempton 3 miles. He won this race when it was transplanted to Sandown in real style last year, style which made him look a hot favourite for the Gold Cup. But, as you remember, when it came to 2 furlongs from home in the Gold Cup, suddenly the petrol ran out.
Well, they've never given a real excuse for why he stopped so quickly. You can put down that maybe he didn't get the trip, but I certainly wouldn't go along with that. Last time out at Wetherby, well, it was last time out, first time up this season, travelled really well, right back to his very best form. Had Barton Bank stretching just to stay in touch with him from the turn into the straight. Got a little bit close to the last, and then, all right, if you were hypercritical, you'd say, well, maybe he wasn't actually going anywhere, going up to the post. He was perhaps going up and down on the spot, but to me, that's certainly good enough. Just have a look now. Richard Dunwoody just had to push him out. It was his first run of the season, and there's no doubt that had something been good enough, and you've heard people say that, then he'd have been able to be beaten. The fact was, there wasn't anything good enough to go with him. And in this race last year at Sandown, over a much stiffer 3 miles, he absolutely blew the opposition away. And don't ever forget the way this horse travelled about 1.5 miles from home. He was absolutely pulling double. He pulled his way to the front. There were good horses in that race, couldn't lay up with him. Well, he was actually Richard Dunwoody just couldn't settle him and allowed him to get to the front far sooner than he would have liked. And you're doing well to remember that this afternoon.
But favourite from 2 to 1 on. Rough Quest is 4 to 1 now, open at 7 to 2. Strong Promise out to 6 to 1 from 5 to 1. Now there's money for Mr. Mulligan, Tony McCoy's mount, from 12 to 1 down to 10s and now 8 to 1. Meanwhile, Barton Bank taking a walk in the betting from 7s out to 9 to 1.
Begin to tingle when he thinks about the days when he ruled everything here at Kempton. 4 times a King George winner.
Winner of the Cheltenham Gold Cup as well. He leads out the field, and the field number 1, Barton Bank, and the colours of Jenny Moore.
Those who go after him: Adrian Maguire and Barton Bank, winners in '93, winners but for a last fences after in '94, and back with a big shout if on song this afternoon.
Number 3 is Mr. Mulligan, in the colours of Michael and Jerry Worcester.
Champion jockey Tony McCoy on the giant Mr. Mulligan. If this one is really on song, he could lead them a mighty gallop.
The defending champion, winner of the King George VI chase, one of Sandown Park.
And Richard Dunwoody, bidding to become the first jockey to win a 4th King George. With last year's winner, one man, he's odds on to do it.
Sandown Park at 1 man.
Then Mick Fitzgerald on Grand National winner Rough Quest, who had to revert the hurdle of his warm-up race, but he hacked in all the same. And finally, Kieran Gall on Strong Promise. Only a 5-year-old, but he's improving so fast, you cannot count him out of it.
Colin Brown a real rough time on the way down. Now he's seen the others, heaven knows what'll happen.
Wow, real magnificent looking horse. I think he must have put on probably 100 weight since he's packed up racing. Really just wonderful. Almost pay your money just to come and watch him counter down to the start. Well, from Desert Orchid, let's have a look at a horse who's very much making his name this season. Ran a tremendous race in the Murphys at Cheltenham, finished second to Challenger Duluc. That was 2.5 miles, this is 3, and I think he'll get the 3 miles. Whether he's quite good enough or not, I don't know, but touchwood, he's been a very good jumper and got the best of him yet to come, I'm sure of that. Our Eye Catcher was one man on the way to post. It was Strong Promise who took Graham's eye. Mr. Mulligan was just seen back down to 8s from 10s, and Rough Quest just beginning to lengthen a little bit.
On the Detemps, King George VI chase. Over to you, Graham.
No, taking a turn.
And they've been asked to take a turn. Plenty of pace assured here. Mr. Mulligan we expect to go on Barton Bank.
Okay, come on.
And those two Trailblazers are out in front as they come down towards the first of 19 fences. Mr. Mulligan has the edge to Barton Bank, clear of Strong Promise and One Man and Rough Quest. And they take the first now, which they're all safely over. And it's Mr. Mulligan that leads to Barton Bank in second place, and then Strong Promise and One Man and Rough Quest as they take the first of the ditches they have to jump. And Strong Promise gave him plenty of air. And it's Mr. Mulligan that has the edge here to Barton Bank in second place. So the cards being played very much as we expected them to be, with Mr. Mulligan blazing the trail to Barton Bank, winner of the race 2 years back, and then the novice Strong Promise in front of the grey One Man, and the national winner Rough Quest held up 5th of the 5 as they level up down a stretch of the track that they have 4 fences to jump. It's a plain one they're coming to now, and it's Mr. Mulligan that leads. Mr. Mulligan to Barton Bank and Strong Promise, and then One Man and Rough Quest. It's a strong pace. Not as strong as it was when Desert Orchid took on Ranger. We were discussing that race earlier on this morning. But it's Mr. Mulligan who has it too. In second place, Barton Bank, and then One Man on the inside of Strong Promise, and then Rough Quest, and they've jumped 4. So it's Mr. Mulligan at the head of affairs to Barton Bank, and then Strong Promise and One Man and Rough Quest. Head towards fence number 6. They're quickly at it. And it's Barton Bank, Adrian Maguire moving through the inside of Mr. Mulligan. They're 8 lengths clear of Strong Promise, One Man, and then Rough Quest still going to be played late for Mick Fitzgerald. And they come to the end of the first mile. And it's Potemps King George, and it's Mr. Mulligan that leads. To Barton Bank in second place, and about 6 lengths back there to Strong Promise, the outside of the grey One Man and Rough Quest. A line of 3 fences on this stretch of the track, coming towards the 7th fence they'd take, and it's Mr. Mulligan to Barton Bank in second place, and then Strong Promise and One Man, and then Rough Quest, fence number 8 now. Mr. Mulligan comes to it, pops over by a length or so to Barton Bank, and then Strong Promise and One Man and Rough Quest, and this will be the last next time round. And really a colossal crowd here at Kempton, and they saw Strong Promise just dive at it, but it's Mr. Mulligan who leads under champion jockey Tony McCoy, clear by about 3 or 4 lengths to Barton Bank in second, and then Strong Promise the outside of One Man, and then Rough Quest at the back of the pack. So they swing right-handed. Rough Quest just changes legs there a little bit, and a little bit scratchy as they race away down towards the water jump, and it's Mr. Mulligan blazing the trail. Mr. Mulligan to Barton Bank in second place, and then Strong Promise and One Man, and then Rough Quest. And they've completed a circuit, and they head down towards what was their first, is now the 11th, at which Mr. Mulligan leads, and Tony McCoy just increasing the tempo a little bit. Rough Quest safe at the back, and the next one they take is an open ditch, fence number 12, And it's Mr. Mulligan coming to it. He's over in the lead to Barton Bank and Strong Promise. Now, one man, Richard Dunwoody, has given the leader a good 8 or 10 length start on this champion chaser, and Rough Quest is 4 lengths behind him. One man, the 13 to 8 on favourite. Rough Quest at 4 to 1. Strong Promise 6 to 1. Mr. Mulligan down to 13 to 2. Barton Bank at 10 to 1. All to play for, a mile to go. 7 more fences to jump. And gentlemen, will they catch the one in front, Mr. Mulligan?
Yeah, well, he's certainly going a good gallop. He's jumping really well for Tony McCoy. And at this stage, I'm pleased to see Richard Dunwoody moved away from Barton Bank. He wouldn't be the horse you wanted to be tracking, but he's a horse who comes onto the bridle very quickly, one man. He's just got a slap down the shoulder there, and if I take nods on about him, I think I'll be beginning to get us slightly concerned.
He's about 5 lengths adrift, is one man, the odds-on favourite, the King George, but it's still with 5 more fences to jump. Mr. Mulligan who leads, Barton Bank in second place. One man hard on the bridle now is Mr. Mulligan, who just nods on landing there, and Barton Bank makes a mistake and blunders away. So it's Mr. Mulligan to one man in second place. This is the 4th from home. Mr. Mulligan over to one man, and now Rough Quest the outside of Barton Bank, and the novice Strong Promise can't live with them as they start the turn out of the back straight, and it's Tony McCoy on Mr. Mulligan, clear by about 5 lengths, by 4 lengths now to one man in second, and Rough Quest is in third place, and they're turning for home, and it's one man under Richard Dunwoody going for his 4th King George win on the grey. One man, the odds-on favourite, coming up the outside of Mr. Mulligan and Tony McCoy. They're in the home straight, 3 to jump, and it's one man who leaps into the lead to Mr. Mulligan. Rough Quest in third place, and they've got 2 more to jump now, and it's one man the outside of Mr. Mulligan, 2 out here, and one man to Mr. Mulligan in second. Rough Quest in third, Barton Bank, and then Strong Promise, but it's bar a fall for one man as he comes down towards the final fence in the Pertemps King George, and it's one man cleared by 6 lengths. This is the last. He's over safely, and Mr. Mulligan falls at the last. Rough Quest through the second place, and as he races up towards the line, it's one man cleared by 12 to 15 lengths, and up the line, one man is going to take it, Pushkan, but he wins it. One man is the winner. Rough Quest an honourable second, Barton Bank a brave third, and finishing 4th of the 4 is going to be Strong Promise. Mr. Mulligan's on his feet, and so too Tony McCoy. And so the result then of this Pertemps King George has gone to the easy to back odds-on favourite, one man, the colours of Sir John Hales, trained up in Cumbria by Gordon Richards and ridden by Richard Dunwoody, his 55th winner of the season, but more importantly his 4th King George. He becomes the first jockey so to win 4 King Georges. Second horse home is number 6 Rough Quest, ridden by Mick Fitzgerald, who looked after the horse on this fast ground. The third horse home is number 1 Barton Bank, the man of Adrian Maguire, who made one unnecessary blunder on the far side really, and that took away his chances. The novice Strong Promise could never live with them. They're a classy performer in the centre of excellence, one man.
One man returned the 13 to 8 on favourite and beats the Grand National winner Rough Quest at 4 to 1. The fall of Mr. Mulligan helps many forecast backers there, with Barton Bank running in the race for the 4th time, the 10 to 1 chance, and finishes 3rd. And one man, the 23rd favourite in 46 runnings to win the King George, the 9th to go into odds on. The most recent was Desert Orchid twice and Borough Hill Lad in 1984. And one man gives trainer Gordon Richards his 3rd King George. One man, of course, won it at Sandown in January, and he also won it with Titus Oates 27 years ago. And Richard Dunwoody, a record 4th King George, all on greys, of course. One man twice and Desert Orchid twice. 13 to 8 on, 7,000 to 4 was bet on, 6,000 to 4, and a 6,000 to win 3,000. Plenty of lumpy bets for the grey. 13 to 8 on, one man.
Well, they deserve all the accolades, both horse and jockey. Came through, had to work really hard for this. In the end, he might have won 6 or 7 lengths, but plenty of effort put into it. owner was blowing more than the horses they walked in there. I think he ought to go at the Gordon Richards for a few weeks.
This moment, for all of us watching, what's it like for you?
Well, I didn't watch.
You didn't watch?
No, I hid behind the corner over there and I listened to the commentary. I watched him over the last to the finishing line.
You literally didn't see
No,
it?
I can't watch him. It's just too nerve-wracking. But he's home safe and sound, that's the main thing. The winning the race is a bonus, but he's safe.
And on the finishings, he pulled himself up at the finish. Did you watch that bit?
Yes, he's...
Did that alarm you?
Not really. Not really. He got the race won. We're happy.
And John, you've had horses under you, but how much does he mean to you, this horse?
Oh, it's everything coming. We went into racing not knowing a thing, and we buy a horse like this. You know, he's won 2 King George, a Hennessy. You know, what can you say about him? I mean, he means so much to my family that he puts a lot of pressure on us, and we just want him to be safe and well. That's all we want.
Brilliant. And a quick word, Richard.
Just waiting.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
What for must have been terrific.
Yes, he's given me a great ride through the race, jumped to, but just switched off a bit more than he usually does. But it wasn't a competitive race with only 5 runners. He's done it very, very well.
Well done.
Thanks.
Well done. And Gordon Richards is here. Gordon. Gordon. When the kissing has to stop, congratulations. You had him. You said you thought he was at his peak, and you said.
Yeah, I thought he was very, very well. You know, he's only had the 1 run this year, and he missed 8 up, which was a pity, because the race just puts him on a boil a little bit, doesn't it? But I knew I had him super fit, and I knew waiting another week wasn't going to do him any harm.
Now, John's saying that he couldn't actually watch the race, but you did, and you saw Mr. Mulligan have a thorough lead on you.
Oh, he did. He did. He had a very good long lead. He made it a good gallop and a good try and race, didn't he? But John never does watch the race, you know. He runs away and leaves me.
And tell us, when you went to pick him up, you knew your horse was on song then?
Yeah, I did, and you know, like he jumps well, doesn't he? And Richard said before he went out, it'd probably be over the last 3 he'd go and win his race. So, I mean, he closed in on him, didn't he? And then he set him alight over the last 3, so...
Well, the question we might have to ask is, what about Cheltenham? Because do you now think anything was wrong you can understand at Cheltenham?
We can never pick nothing up, you know, at Cheltenham with him or anything like that. When we say he doesn't get the trip, he went out, you know, too quick for me there. But he's going to go back to Cheltenham in January, and we're going to have a look in the Pillar Chase and just see. If he doesn't win there, well, I'll tell you, he won't go over the Gold Cup, I don't think.
And tell us, he did one thing he could say, he pulled himself up once he was clear on the run-in.
This one?
Yeah.
I think he's got a laid back, the quiet way in nature that he is now. He's getting quieter in every way. Maybe it's the way I train him at home, you know, to go very quiet. You're carrying an old fella, you know, so...
well, if you had to climb up those, it'll make anyone go quiet.
There you are, Russ, yeah. No.
Well, John, finally, if you couldn't watch here, what's it going to be like when you go in Cheltenham?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, last Cheltenham, we were funny enough.
After the wonderful round that Mr. Mulligan had put in, he's really made this race, and his jumping until the last was practically perfect, John, I think.
Yeah, jumped really well for Tony McCoy. It's the first time that he's been on board his horse, and got a good tune out of him. What impressed me most about the horse was how well he travelled. He was cruising, you know, well within himself. And we actually was speaking through the race here, and I just thought at one stage Richard Dunwoody sat still at the moment. At this point, I'm sure he knows that he's got the horse well within his sights, but I think they're probably about a furlong and a half down the far side. I think he probably would have been thinking, well, I'm not sure what's actually left in the tank. As soon as he gets up sides Mr. Mulligan, it's all over then. But I agree with you, really sad and undeserved for him to fall at the last, Mr. Mulligan. He put a lot into this race, made it every yard of the running until turning for home. Certainly deserves some second prize money. And going to the last now, if we take the shot that we did. Originally, this horse just beginning to idle a bit with Richard, and sees a perfect stride, lets him flick over the last, and then Mr. Mulligan, time and time again horses fall because they're tired, and that was the only reason he laid down there. And this horse, just have a look at his ears, just backwards and forwards. I just wonder how much left in the tank, or how much he was just idling in front.
Remainder man, who's dead sadly, was third to Shirley Heights, in the Derby, only beaten a length and a half, but Remainder Man didn't ever really pass his ability on at stud until he covered the unraced mare Steal On, and this is her first foal. One Man is the first foal of Steal On, who was by General Ironside. Comes from a good family, the same family as the good Irish chaser Wild Hyde, and I remember a mare of Bill Shan Kidd's called Matchboard, who Bill will remember if he's looking in, and if he is, I hope you're going on well, Bill. But that's the penalty, the pedigree of the best 3-mile chaser in England.
First. Do you think there was
We've jumped the last, and he's started. I think he's a little bit idling as well. I said if there had been another fence halfway up the run, then he probably wouldn't have stopped. It's just been left alone for so long. He's deserved to get a little bit tired. We've got a good gallop, and he's well clear. He's left alone.
But Cheltenham,
we will see at Cheltenham. We'll see at Cheltenham hopefully in January.
And what about the Desert Orchid question? What's your answer to that? You've ridden the two, you're the only man.
Here we go again. They're two brilliant horses, and you can't get away from that. They're different characters. They're both very intelligent horses. They've both got a lot of scope. If anything, possibly Desert Orchid is a little bit more powerful, a little bit more extravagant. This horse also is very intelligent and very, very good.
Richard, let's talk about you as a performer. At the 4th King George, you say pressure's something you put on yourself, but how big was this for you down at the start?
I've had decent horses to ride, and you can't go without them. I've lucky I've